Gavan! Greetings, brave souls. I am your GM in the Great Barrier, and we are broadcasting from the center of your entertainment galaxy. And already, this stream needs an immediate correction because I am indeed in the Great Barrier, but tonight I am not your GM. We are back for Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword, and we are starting a new episode tonight Darkest Nebula. And this will be run by our own Mr. Azek Korg, Joe the Overland Gamer. Without further ado, I am going to hand it over to you, Joe.
All right. Tonight's episode features some elements of spooky spook and horror. Not bloody horror. Think Alfred Hitchcock more than, say, some of the bloody gore that's out there.
Peter
So
Jackson.
um, maybe. Um, but I just want to warn everybody, all our listeners, and I've spoken to the group beforehand to make sure that it was adjusted to their tastes and what they're comfortable with. If for whatever reason any of our players feel that tonight's episode is getting too spooky and is kind of bordering that mental struggle, please message in Discord, an X, or some kind of a signal that and then we'll change it up. I want to respect your guys' mental health and through this adventure because I know supernatural and kind of those spooky spook episodes can be quite um, dangerous sometimes. And yeah, so a big thanks to GM of the Great Barrier for letting me take the reins. So we shall get started. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. The longer you stare into the darkness, the longer it stares back at you. Deep in space, it becomes the darkest. A nebula drifts unassumingly, its existence a question to anyone who has interacted with it. It exists and doesn't exist. It is there and it is not there. It is lonely. It is curious. It wishes to be left alone. The nebula is in pain. The nebula wants your pain. The nebula has secrets. The nebula wants your secrets. Welcome to Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword, The Darkest Nebula. The Yan drifts silently next to a rather active ion nebula. The lightning strikes within the nebula, causing little flashes of light. A every once in a while, the rumble of thunder can be heard, which is an oddity in space. The scene drifts to it pans across the ship. The lights seem to be in emergency mode as it slowly drifts. The scene shifts to inside the ship. It is very dark in here. Emergency lighting floods the hallways, and the camera kind of pans through, or the scene pans through the ship's corridors. Every once in a while, you see some of the extra crew laying on the ground, unconscious, not moving. The scene passes to engineering, and again, crew members that should be up and active are laying on the ground, unconscious. Some at their stations, some looks like they were in mid walk and just laid down. We drift to the bridge, kind of going through the corridors, and there's kind of a dark haze about the ship, making it feel and making it seem darker than what it normally is. We arrive at the bridge, and there is all the bridge crew are unconscious at their stations. Azek is slouched over in the captain's chair, looking like a granddad who just fell asleep after a nice meal. Vopri is hunched over his console, resting on his head resting on his arms. The rest of the bridge crew are asleep in various positions. The scene kind of pans back into the hall and drifts further down the hallway, the dark hallway. You kind of see a little bit of movement with the shadows. Is it something moving there, or is it the light? We will start with a loud crack of thunder is heard outside, and a large rumble. This is enough to wake up one of our crew. Why don't we start with Kemok? That would be Captain Tabok's character. I hope I pronounced that right.
Temok, yeah.
What would your character is starting to come to? Where on the ship would your character have been during just a routine? They're flying through space at warp.
Well, the current captain of Azek has not given Temok any shipboard duties and hasn't assigned him any quarters, so he's probably just racked out on boxes or bags in the cargo hold like he was when he was first discovered on board ship. So that's where he's going to wake up, in the cargo hold.
The loud thunder outside is very prevalent in the cargo hold. In the very middle of the cargo hold, there is a very large open container, probably about the size of a I say it's about waist height, kind of a big tote looking thing. The rest of
So you mean like a bag?
No, like it's a metal crate.
Okay.
But the size of it is probably like a good 16-gallon tote, like
Okay.
one of the big um
Was it
it sits open, and you can see the emergency lighting is on in this room. What do you wish to do?
uh, uh, was that box there?
You're not sure. You remember something about hearing about a box or a crate in space, but after that your mind becomes very fuzzy.
Okay, what's going on? Push the little button for the comm. Hey, Chemak to bridge. Hello?
The button presses and you hear kind of a electronic hum, but there doesn't seem to be any response. The communications seem to be not working.
Okay. Emergency lighting is on. Gravity is still functioning.
Yes. It does seem a little bit darker than normal for emergency lighting that you have experienced previously.
Okay. Check. Put a hand up over one of the air conditioning vents, for life support. Is it running?
You're not entirely sure. The air doesn't seem to feel stale or anything like that, but it definitely there's no noticeable movement with it.
Okay. Check the chronometer. Have I been out for a particularly long time? I mean, he slept most of the trip out here in the first place, just getting up to get snacks and go to the bathroom. But has it been a long time?
Since your last you kind of try to punch something up on a computer, and the computer just appears to be a blank screen. You throw inputs at it, and it doesn't appear to accept any of them.
Oh, this ain't good. All right. So, does the elevator? The cargo deck is below the main deck. So, does the elevator go up?
It doesn't appear to. Doesn't seem
Doesn't
to be
even-
any power to it.
All right. So go up the ladder gangways up to the main deck, and head to the bridge.
Okay. As you make your way to the bridge, let's go down to next to Raldar. What would Raldar be doing at this time? Where would he be waking up at?
Engineering.
In engineering, you hear the another crack of thunder outside, and the you can hear the engines running, but they seem to be running very weakly, weak. The emergency lighting is on in here, and it's a little brighter than you can see in some of the around. It's brightest around the engine coils, but the rest of the room seems a little darker than normal.
Reldar will, slowly push himself up. Shake out any tension. And he's gonna walk over to the main station to check what happened.
You get to the main station, and it shows the status of the engines and some of uh, the basic emergency computer systems. It does display that you are in emergency running mode. It does not display if there's if this is caused by any damage or any any malfunctions that you can tell. You try to throw other commands at it that to try to get more information, and it doesn't seem to accept any of them.
I see. Well, after exhausting my options, I will look over to Kelshaw and, kneel down and sort of shake her shoulder, see if I can wake her up or something.
Kelshaw, you are being awoken by Raldar. What describe how you wake up in kind of a groggy state?
Who's playing Kelshaw?
Oh, sorry, I forgot. It was me. Hello. Good job, my head. What happened? What's going on?
The ship appears to be in a low power state at the moment.
GM, what was the last thing Kelshaw was working on before? What the last thing she remembers to be doing?
Well, that would be a question for you. Under normal ship operations, basically returning back to Captain Tabok's homeworld, what would your character have been doing in engineering?
Raldar, what would you have ordered Kelshaw to be doing in engineering?
She'd probably just be monitoring the power flow.
Okay. So I'm gonna try to shake this off. Take a look at the power flow diagnostics. And try to see myself what's going on.
Okay. As you punch in commands to the computer console, anything related to emergency status is displayed and accessible. Anything beyond that, and it doesn't seem to accept any kind of input. Why don't you give me let's do an engineering and either insight or reason.
Sounds good. Quick question to our GMs. Would this count as an activation for Kelshaw?
I'll chime in here to say that it would. So
Thank you, because she's kind of bare.
Yep,
I kind of need some. I need at least a value. Okay, cool. I'll work on that.
That also counts for Hemlock as well, correct?
correct. We are in a
Yeah.
new adventure, so you may assign well, in Chemok's case, I think you still have a well, definitely talents, values, or focuses that you can give him. I think that in Chemok's case, you can also assign a point to one of his disciplines, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure you did an attribute last time.
If you don't have a value, I would get one, because you can't have determination without a value.
Understood. Thank you.
Would my power management focus work?
Yeah, I think so. You were working on your power deal before, so yeah.
All right. And you said insight and engineering?
Yeah,
All
or
right.
reason and engineering, whichever one is better.
They're
for you.
equal.
Okay.
Roll.
All right. You kind of work the system a little bit, and you pull up some history of the past. Oh, I'd say about 2 to 3 hours, and the power across the ship appears to has dropped drastically over. I say 3 hours ago it was perfectly fine, and then 2 hours ago it's when it dropped drastically. With your success there, some power would have been redirected to the transporters, and shortly after that is when the power in the power dropped drastically.
Raldar, did you activate the transporters?
I did not.
Well, somebody did. And it sure wasn't. It wasn't Croker.
Yes.
As you two are talking in engineering, trying to figure this out, we pan to the next one down. Let's see what our wonderful cook is doing, Traven Lex. What would Traven be doing? Just waking up. Where would he be at?
Probably cleaning, just anywhere in the kitchen. So he's probably just on the floor.
Okay. You wake up next to a you wake up on the floor in the mess to the sound of a loud rumble and some of the pans in the cupboards kind of rattling with the sound and the vibration. Uh, what do you wish to do? Describe how you wake up. What do you do first? What would your character do first?
I'm going to slowly stand up and then panic because I might have been cooking something. So I look around really quickly and notice that nothing's on fire. And then I'm gonna secure all the pans and stuff, make sure nothing fell from that big boom.
You notice that the ship's mess appears to be fairly clean. It's how you would have it after a meal and after you've had some time to give it a nice clean. So it doesn't appear that it was just after a meal. Um, what uh, what would your character do next as far as yeah.
Probably go to any try and contact somebody, see what the hell that was.
So bear with me a little bit for the description of this. It's the kitchen, and then it's connected to the little conference room area, right? Or the is that two separate rooms or is that one?
Let's see. Going off of
The
Go ahead there.
sorry, the galley is next to the targ pit, and both of those are across the hall from the mess hall. Galley is the
Okay.
kitchen. Mess hall is where we eat.
Okay, so Traven, you're going out of the mess to or the yeah to into the hallway.
Yeah, to the nearest console so I can communicate with
Okay.
anybody.
Why don't you give me an insight security or daring security as you exit the room that you're in and you go into the hall?
Oh.
As you step into the hall, you notice that the red emergency lighting is on out here, but it's extremely dark. You can barely see in front of putting your hand in front of your face, you could barely see. The You take a few steps towards where you think a panel should be, and as you do, the darkness around you seems to dissipate very quickly. The And you make it over to the panel.
Does it turn on?
It sparks a little bit, like there's power to it, but you don't seem to get any response from it.
I'm gonna go back to the mess.
Okay. As
And
you
I'm
step
gonna
back,
oh, go
as
ahead.
you step back into the mess, looking back, the hallway seems to be back to, it's darker, but it's back to normal slightly. Um, what do you do next?
I'm gonna grab a normal kitchen knife, just in case. And I'm going to. Do we have like a broom or a mop?
Yeah. There's off to the side. There's a looks like a mop bucket from where somebody had just cleaned not too long ago and hadn't put the cleaning supplies away. So you'd have a mop bucket and a mop.
Okay. I grab the mop and I'm gonna go back out and I'm gonna put the mop head down and walk down the hallway to make sure I don't trip on anything in front of me.
Okay. You can see the darkness seems to be lifted slightly, so you can see the emergency lighting. But you make your way down the hall. Where are you heading towards?
Crap, I'm trying to think of the word. Where we keep all of our equipment.
Would that be the quartermasters?
Might be
Yeah, I
Right.
believe so.
if there's remembering my and glancing over the map myself. One could also imagine there being some sort of armory or other
I'm just
small
looking for a
stores.
light.
No, the ship doesn't actually have an armory. That would have been stored in one of the cargo bays or in one of the in one of the smaller quote unquote personal cargo bays. There wasn't a
Yeah.
dedicated armory.
Yeah, there. In that case, there. I mean, the ship's basically an armory. You can't go down to a section without stumbling across a batleth rack, or would if we had batleths on the ship. But no, I guess there is. I know consumable storage probably wouldn't be the ideal place, but there'd probably be a few small bits and bobs, or at least some kind of emergency kit. Would think that'd be fair, Sean?
Well, there'd be emergency kits all over the place because that's just standard equipment on any kind of space-going vessel in this universe. Because you've got to do damage control.
Yeah, yeah. And
So there's going to be repair. There's going to be like repair kits inside of, you pop a door open on the side of the hallway and pull out a repair kit.
So maybe that would have a flashlight then.
Why don't you roll me a let's do an insight, either security or engineering or science, to kind of get your bearings and basically try to find the panel or find the locker.
Okay. Would survival focus apply?
Sure. Shipboard survival, yeah. As you make your way down the hall, your mop stops abruptly as one of the spare crew. We don't have to worry about anybody playing this character at the moment, but is laying on the ground asleep or unconscious, and laying next to him is what is the locker you were looking for?
Which crew member?
Oh, one of the extras.
We can say Nalgary if you'd like.
It's Dar.
Yeah, we could say.
Oh
we could say
no.
Nalgary.
I really hope it's not dark.
Is Dart tiny?
Yes. I mean,
Okay.
he's quite large. He is, in fact, the largest, most muscular crew member, at least currently, on the ship.
I might play with him. I might play with him later, waking up. But for now, it's Nalgary.
Sleepy time.
Somebody else might have to play Nagri.
I got him. I got you covered. Unless someone else wants.
Go ahead.
First, I'm gonna grab, see if I can find a light from the locker.
You do manage to find it with that nice success there, and that would technically earn you momentum. I'm horrible with momentum stuff, so bear with me on that. But that would earn you at least 2 momentum.
I will be designated momentum officer tonight.
Excellent, thank you. You do find a flashlight, and there's still phasers and your blades and stuff in there. It's rather dark when you reach in there, and you successfully avoid being poked by one of the batleths and other sharp objects they might have in there.
Are there any? Is there like a power supply for the light in there?
I'm assuming the power supply would be in the light itself.
Yeah, the batteries would be built in.
Are there other lights?
I could say there's two of them.
All right, I'm gonna grab both of them then,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna take one and shine the light in Nagri's face to wake him up.
Nagri, you are awoken to a very bright light. You are the cold floor of the grate, I guess, of the floor is against your back, and there's a very bright light shining in your face.
Oh, no, stop. Stop it, please. That's too bright. Ugh.
Sorry, I had to wake you up, and I didn't want to touch you because you're literally all meat, no, nothing else, and I didn't want to get punched.
Oh, that's very smart, chef. But I do not hit the hand that feeds, or any other part of you for that matter. Oh, he's gonna like stretch and flex the tree trunks that are his arms, and pull them behind. You know, Creole tend to be, they very heavily emphasize their upper body strength and physique, so even in this stretching, he's kind of unconsciously, like, just flexing at every opportunity before trying to get his little spindly legs in order. Well, I... Did we hit something? Did I hit something? My head maybe hit a panel? Did a panel fall out?
Oh no, I point around. Lights are kind of off. Terminals aren't working either.
Oh, it's weird. I just doing routine maintenance. Boss had me working on things, but I don't know. I don't remember much else than that.
Yeah, I was just cleaning, and then I woke up. So I don't really know what's going on. I woke to a loud bang though. I don't know what that was. Everything seems to be fine since we're still breathing.
Well, I mean, in fairness, well, hey, I don't like to speculate about a life support system. Somebody had better see to what exactly is going on there. Make sure power gets back online.
Then we need to wake up Raldar
Oh,
if he's still asleep.
he's gonna try to strain and get up to his feet, steadying himself against the wall. Quite right. Damage control, good idea. Controls would also be good.
I hand you a flashlight. I'm gonna keep mine on. Only use that if we get separated. I want to keep as much flashlight as possible between us two.
That's fair. Ugh. Lead the way.
I'm gonna try and find my way to engineering.
Okay. This is kind of an external question. Do the Creel have any sensitivity towards empath stuff or that kind of thing?
None that I was able to find in the in beta canon. So, yeah.
I couldn't either, so that's why I asked. I should have asked before, but I just wanted to make sure.
Quite all right.
All right, so you two make your way towards engineering, and
might we have come across Chemek at this point? Because he's probably climbed up a fair bit here anyway.
That's I was going to ask that.
Yeah, it's only one deck. I probably would have been there already.
Yep. So yeah, you guys, Chemek would have been coming out of the cargo bay door as you guys intercepted each other in the hall.
Whoa. All right. Well, at least I'm not the only one who's awake. What happened?
No idea.
I just sort of woke up in the cargo bay. I mean, that's where I sleep anyway.
Did you wake up on your own or because of the loud bang?
I don't know nothing about a bang. There's a box down there that I don't remember loading.
Most troubling here. We're on the way to engine room. Make sure that power is still functional, and more importantly, that we all don't suffocate in a few minutes. So, Nogri's
Air smells good. It just, I don't know if I can't tell if it's running or not.
Yeah. Actually, Joe, Nogri, as a Creole, they tend to have a lot of experience with making sure life support systems, and like they live on ships in large part. They're largely a group that lives in diaspora, so as Nogri comes to, like, an instinct would come up pretty quickly to get a sense of how things are going, and he's very much the sort that maybe could feel it by the tell of the deck plates, or could pick up sounds of ventilation to see if life support's running. Could I run some sort of insight check on that, maybe?
Yeah, do an insight, either engineering or science, I think would work.
Okay, I'll roll for engineering. And let's see, what equipment maintenance apply as a focus?
Equipment maintenance. Yeah, I think so.
Alright. I'll give that a quick roll, and one success.
Okay. As far as you can tell, the environmental systems appear to be on, but they're not cycling. Which you would slightly understand that might be due to lack of power, lack of overall power. The reason for that lack of power, you can't really tell from that roll, but yeah.
Some problem with light support, I think. We're going to need to address that before too long. Yep. Burly one there. You said you are heading to bridge or up to engineering?
I was headed up to the bridge because gotta check the brains before you check the heart. Know what I mean?
The smellier one does have a point, but one should go check engine room.
Did you just call me smelly?
Would you disagree with description?
He lifts an arm. I have nothing right now. Better things to do. You're close. So.
Before we head out, I gotta ask, what do you mean there's a box down there that you didn't load?
Well, before we left, I was the one who was, helping to load everything up in the cargo bays. I took a nap, and there's a big box in the middle of the cargo bay that I don't remember loading. And it wasn't there when I took a nap. So, it's weird, that's all.
Was it by chance body sized? Like a body could fit in there?
It would have to be small. I mean, if it was big, they'd have to take it into pieces. I mean, you can fit a body into almost anything. It just depends on how many component parts you want to put it into before you put it in it.
Okay, stop. That's terrifying. Could I fit in there if I squeezed?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we might have to squish you a little bit, maybe break a bone, but yeah, I'm pretty sure we could fit you in there. Did you want to fit in the box?
No, but I just realized that something could have been inside that box alive and then gotten out. and sabotage the ship, or put us
I
to
don't-
sleep.
I have no idea. It's just a weird box in the middle of the room. I didn't put it there. Or at least I don't remember putting it there. I don't even remember falling asleep in the cargo bay.
Seems
Mashed my nose. It hurts, man.
seems like there may be some gap in memory too for me as well. We can I only remember doing maintenance here, but as said,
But if you get hit in the head, you don't normally remember.
yes. In any case, Shraven, perhaps we should split up here. Hemek, you go with Chef here. You go check out the bridge. I will go back to engineering, see if I can be of any help. Well, unless we all want to stay together, I wouldn't blame you, but I think I can handle myself. I've gone toe to toe with Lizardman before.
Every
Yeah.
part of my being is saying stay together. I think we should stay together.
What are you? Wow, you definitely are not Klingon. Go with them
No.
if you need to. I'll
Whoa.
go to the bridge.
No,
Wow.
I am smart.
Oh, wait a minute now. Are you saying Klingons aren't smart? He's pointing a finger right at your face. Are you saying Klingons ain't smart?
Can Zynal just show up behind him?
Sure. Zionel, you wake up. We'll say you. I'm assuming you'd be in quarters somewhere. And you kind of groggily stumble into the hall as you hear this commotion.
I'm not being groggy at all. No. I'm popping out from behind this man like a cartoon character.
Oh, okay. Like
no,
you just woke up.
that's not what he's saying at all. He just thinks it would be wiser if we kept together.
And that's gonna startle him, and he's gonna turn around and he's gonna punch at where the voice came from.
I want to imagine Zynal's way too short for this guy to punch. How fucking tall are Rimmon?
The Remans, they
He's
can-
he's just tall enough to get punched by Kamak.
Okay, roll to
Exactly.
avoid that punch smoothly.
Well, I
And-
have to roll the you have to roll the hit anyway. But
Yeah. If possible, I'd like to assist on this because I think that Nalgri would be a little more no-nonsense, particularly where ship breaking down is concerned. So if as Hemok is throwing his punch, I could try to, catch the arm.
Rev, you're gonna
before-
have to roll
that-
for me. I can't access your sheet stat.
that didn't.
Oh,
work.
sorry,
How
I didn't
many-
realize that.
How many dice am I supposed to have for an unarmed strike?
Well, you're supposed to roll daring plus security before that.
Hemok, before you do that, you turn and go to swing at the voice that just spooked you. I need you to roll, and anybody that's looking in that direction, to roll a control, command, or presence and con roll.
Okay, because it's just like an instinctive reaction. He's just going to punch it because it's snuck up behind him. But here's that roll.
Okay. All right, this is a 2 successor. So you both instinctively turn and look, and where Croker is,
Who?
who was it that Woe was playing? I'm
Zynal.
sorry,
Zynal.
Zynal, because Croker is dead.
I wrote Croker down, and I meant it. Yeah, Zynal is standing there, but behind them is a very large, dark mass, like you cannot see down the hall, and it causes you to stop for just a second. You may continue with the punch if you wish, or you may react to that.
So the punch is daring and security.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so clipping that later.
Definitely not gonna. I don't have any focuses that apply to this. It's not Kilton, but
Yeah. Let's see. Would my brawling focus apply here?
Absolutely.
Very good. I can at least try to catch it. Not quite enough. I rolled as Vopri. It's great.
But we know who it is.
Yeah.
I get punched. Good times. Fun times.
Did you roll to not get punched?
Yes. And I rolled 2 successes, but
I rolled 4.
Tremark rolled 4, so...
That's disgusting. Oh.
Listen, the good news is we still get 2 momentum.
Uh,
Well, 1 momentum, actually. We get 1 momentum.
all right. Let me ask our great and glorious fellow absorption. How does Zionel take a punch?
For such a skinny, lithe guy, he takes the punch without giving. And there is a moment where he almost reacts instinctively on his in turn, but he's a professional.
So how many damage dice? Oh, you put that in there for me. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, I will note, just as a secondary, well, when it comes to melee combat, when you do succeed at a task, you have options. So, you can
It's non-lethal.
Well, yeah, no, but beyond that, I was going to say you have the option of going for a strike, which you just roll the damage dice normally. You can do a shove, which basically moves the character out of reach, and if an effect is rolled, then they get knocked down. You can go for an immobilize instead. It's a question of what you'd want to do there.
It was just someone snuck up behind him. He punched them. There's the damage dice.
Okay. How much of that would go through?
I have 1 resistance from just my generalized, light armor that.
So that'd be
wear.
4 points of stress, which is not
is-
enough for an injury.
Whoa, that was so close.
There's also an effect, which means that would be enough to knock Zionel down.
Yes. I like to think that the punch lands, and he stands there for a moment, and then remembers he's supposed to, he's not supposed to be that strong. And then, falls for effect.
Classic.
Oh! Shouldn't sneak up on me like that, little bro. Let me help you up.
I hand control back over to Will.
Zionel, what do you wish to do?
I'm sorry, I didn't register at all until just now. Yes, well, now that you've got that out of your system, he takes a side step and walks over to Traven and gives him a disgusted look before walking past. And which way is the bridge? Am I going the wrong way?
Let's see. Everybody's they were heading kind of towards engineering, so you came up behind them. Yeah, you could head towards the bridge.
I'm going towards the bridge.
I do think it's worth a... Well, I don't know. I know that Hamok carried through with the punch, but there was still the dark mass, and I think Traven had spotted it still.
Oh yeah, no, Zionel had not, but he probably should have. So,
Traven, as you see Zionel turn and walk through the darkness, it seems to kind of dissipate around it. Zionel's a guy?
Yes.
In spirit.
Around him, and it kind of dissipates kind of like walking through fog or smoke. As it kind of billows away, it seems to disappear.
Is anybody else seeing that? Like the darkness is acting weird?
I don't know. I punched the little guy. It was a little shady behind him. I don't know. I thought it was just dark.
Huh.
You notice that who was knocked down? I'm sorry.
Zional.
Zinal. Okay. Uh, let's see. And Zional's heading towards the bridge. Okay. What are the rest of you guys
Well,
I'm sorry.
looking between them, maybe Draven, Chef, maybe keep eye on them, because they are both going towards bridge. You're calming influence, you are good at diffusing tension. I still think, though, I need to go check up on power systems, and I don't want to lose any more time on that thing. The ship's head and its heart always need to be working in sync.
I'm actually gonna go with you. Me and Zynol aren't on speaking terms right now.
Very well. I suppose at the end of the day, if there's one more dead Klingon on the ship, then that won't be necessarily a problem, or at least unexpected.
Nobody kills anybody on the crew and gets away with it.
Right.
I'm going to distinctly note that Nogri intentionally said dead Klingon and not presupposing anything about Zionol.
Notice that too, did you?
Says, suit yourself. And Nogri will start walking down towards engineering with Draven.
Okay.
And Hamak is going to the bridge.
Okay. Zional, you head towards the bridge, and I need you to roll me a control and command, or presence and command.
Above board, Rev, would you be okay if I just opened up the sheet?
Please do it.
That'll
be ideal.
The shock
I just
value.
added.
Yeah. The shock value of some things has already come to at this point. So, Ray, you should be able to access Cyanol's sheet now.
Yay!
So, let's see. What was that roll again, Joe?
It's either a control and command or presence and command.
Okay. You should see Zynol and the supporting characters now, Ray.
Sorry, 1 second. Also, was I supposed to roll something? I am not. I zoned out.
Yeah, control and command or presence and command.
Okay.
As you make your way down the hall, you still can feel the pain of the strike on your face, and you feel a very gentle touch on where the wound was, and it feels like somebody putting an ice pack on a very, like a burn, where a lot of that pain is starting to drift away. You Why don't you roll 2 of the what is it, the challenge dice for me,
Yes. Let me find them.
or just do 2d6.
Why did it only roll 1?
Do it again.
Roll an, yeah.
It there you go. An
Okay.
effect. So that's 1.
The take off 2 of the stress that you just took, as
Okay.
you feel a lot better. You feel uh kind of that relief. Um, you kind of look a little bit, and the around you appears to be getting very dark. Um, like it kind of becomes hard to see a little far away.
So Zynel's internal thought process is that he has been drugged, um, because he is not in control of his faculties. So route change. Can he do a quick? I don't know. I always imagine him just very suddenly appearing in places. I can't
Okay.
imagine Zynel walking or running, but we're gonna just have him run towards the med bay.
Okay.
Hey,
Alright.
just a very quick random question, Joe. You said it gets
Yeah.
dark.
Yeah.
So remens in general have light sensitivity. So is it getting like, and are better seeing in the dark? So it's actually getting darker
It's
and
getting
not
darker.
better,
Like
like
somebody,
bad
like some,
darker.
right.
Okay.
Something's coming around
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
her. You mentally, you feel yourself wanting to go uh towards the med bay. Um, and your instincts are all telling you to go that way. Um, Kemok, you come up behind Zionol, and he is enveloped in what looks like a dark figure. It is about the size of it's kind of mimics the size of Zionol, and its hand is over where it kind of has the shape of a hand, and it is over the where they got punched. But they are just Zionol is just standing there, kind of uh, listless, and doesn't seem to be all composed or all there.
Hey, hey,
If
little
you've
guy,
seen
little guy,
if you
what's going
yeah,
on, man? You're like, what? You okay? You're in a cloud. You all right? What's going on?
Am I able to speak?
you become startled. You don't realize that Kamak had come up beside you. The only thing you remember is the feeling of that relief, being in an empty hall, and then all of a sudden, Kamak is right there.
Alright,
Um,
since I am startled, I'm going to immediately draw a weapon on him as a reflex.
okay.
Whoa,
That would
whoa, whoa,
yeah.
whoa!
You
I
sneak
mean,
up on
yeah.
a man
I
and
deserve a
fight.
punch, maybe, but you don't need to shoot me or stab me.
He pockets the
Does,
knife.
does the cloud go away?
Is the cloud still on
Yes.
him?
It kind of dissipates like smoke away when you two start interacting. It doesn't seem to go in any particular direction. It just kind of dissipates all around.
Dude, okay. Did you see that? You were like had a cloud around you? Did you see that?
I was under the impression that I was inhibited in some way. It
Oh,
appears this is not the case.
well, whatever it was, man, it looked like a person shape, and it had its hand or the end of an arm, whatever. It was on your face where it punched you.
Who is there a way we can? Oh, are communicators working at all?
No.
Okay. I'm going to the bridge instead, like I initially was. I need to talk to Vopri.
Okay.
Yeah, that's and yeah, I'm headed to the bridge too. Still,
Everybody needs to talk to Vopri. Come on, he's just a gem.
All right.
the
On the
bridge is where the
bridge,
ship gets run from. Got to go there.
As I'm walking, I stop briefly and look at the what's your name again, dude?
Hammock.
Kemok. I turn to him and say, "Keep your distance."
Okay, I guess I kind of deserve that. Sorry.
No. That is not for my benefit. That is for yours. If you startle me again, it might not be good. And with that, he
Well,
keeps walking.
well, don't sneak up on me neither, dude.
and with the sound of laughter, slight laughter,
A
the
chuckle.
scene closes.
Oh, that
And we
was
go
my
to
laughter, not Zionel's.
oh, there's laughter in the hall.
Okay, that's terrifying. All right.
Oh, okay.
It kind of it's that chuckle, but it's kind of the and then the scene closes. The scene opens in on the bridge as Vopri is starting to rise from his station. Vopri, please describe what your character would do when they wake up kind of groggy. There's the control systems in front of them are very blank.
Well, as Vopri comes to with his face on a hard surface, there might have been a little bit of incongruity. So it's not an unfamiliar sensation to him, but it hasn't recently been something that he's used to. So when he looks around, there's a slight moment of panic, thinking that he was somehow derelict in his duty, or like that he would make people angry at him. And then the panic then evolves to frantically trying to tap at a console and get something to come online, get a display, sensors, anything of the sort, and just he's going to keep trying to pull something, anything from the computers.
As you kind of tinker on the computer, why don't you give me a insight, security, or daring and security check? You're looking at the screens and you see something out of the corner of your eye, kind of behind you.
Okay. Let's see. Vopri is he's an extra flighty, frightened little man. Might he spend a point of momentum so that he can try to perceive this a little bit easier?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
All right. He is not good at the security bit of this, so I'm going to go with the insight part at least, and I'm going to roll a third die. I don't believe any of his focuses really help here. He has sensor operations, small equipment operations, mining equipment, first aid, stellar cartography, and geology.
Yeah. No, none of that.
What about just a harmless little guy?
Just a cute, fun, harmless little man.
I have. I'll just roll for this for now. There might be something to do later. 3 successes.
As you look over your shoulder, you do notice that there appears to be. You kind of see the reflection on the screen, and there kind of seems like there's something moving around the bridge, but it doesn't look like it has any kind of noticeable form. You turn and look quickly, and you don't see anything kind of of note in the kind of where over your shoulder would have been. On the captain's chair, Azek is still hunched over, and there appears to be the shape of a very black, engulfed in smoke cat, kind of on the top shoulder rest of the captain's chair, and it appears to be looking very intently at Azek.
Well, for one thing, Vopri is going to pull up his legs and like tuck them in close to his chest, hiding behind the chair, just barely peering out from around it. Can I discern anything from like movements of the shadowy figures, or whether the cat is doing anything beyond the stare?
Not not visually. From where you're sitting.
Okay. Second question. I think Vopri would be one of at least the handful on the crew to keep a hand scanner of some sort around. It's probably meant more for, like, maintenance issues, so we can treat it as an engineering type scanner more than, like, something useful or, like, specifically calibrated for a scientific purpose. Just in case you had to get into a conduit and try to help with maintenance in any way. Is it working? Can I try to scan anything here?
Yeah, you can definitely you pop it open. I'm assuming it's kind of like the Star Trek, the Federation next gen or POS era scanner.
What,
I'm assuming.
whatever blocking sort of scanning device he has, he's going to very quietly push mute on the sound effects and very quietly open everything, just being as secure as he can, and try to run that. Would reason and science be suitable for the task?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So that would be good. May I pitch sensor operations and or small equipment operation?
Either one would work, but work great. Yeah, you definitely have one of those focuses used.
Okay, and then guys, with your objective, I spend one more momentum.
We
All right, that will allow me to use cautious science here, so I should be able to re-roll. But Vopri is going to quietly initiate the scanner, and I'm going to definitely re-roll. Re-roll a d20 there. 2 successes.
All right, give me a second here. All right, your sensor readings detect the there's something there, but it doesn't appear to be anything of mass. It just seems to be just a ball of gas. It's not recognizable by any of your sensors. It exists, but how or why your sensors can't quite get a pick on it. As you scan it, it turns and looks at you very quickly, and um, it makes a break. You know, when cats get startled and they kind of scatter, it kind of makes a break for one of the ventilation shafts in the I'm assuming there would be one down towards the floor, away from Azek, kind of off to the side. The air still feels kind of dark and heavy in here, but you're not. There's still. It feels like there's something. There's something else here. Um, all your nerves are kind of. The best equivalent of it is you've got very high goosebumps.
Yeah, Vopri is very much. Vopri is just naturally like frozen to his chair, like hunched down, not wanting to deal with anything. He would not come out until it was absolutely certain that whatever else might be in the room no longer had his attention, or that there's no risk of it.
Give me an insight security or a daring and security for kind of a notice roll. Something seems off about Azek.
Okay. That was you were saying insight and which discipline?
Either security, yeah, insight and security.
Okay. So, whoop. For some reason, I was only 2. I'm going to. I'll take the 1 success I get either way on that one.
Okay.
He just peers out and peeks toward Azek, slightly concerned. The captain was being dealt with by a smoke monster.
Something. Azek doesn't appear to be breathing like he would be if he was asleep. He does look hunched over or slouched over, um, but his breathing doesn't seem to be there. That's what's kind of odd about him.
And just to confirm, nothing else. Was there still some sort of dark, smoky presence in the room, or are they alone?
There's kind of a dark haze, kind of all around, but it's very light. So it makes it a little harder to see, but not to where like there's a mass or something like that moving around.
Okay. Phil Pry's gonna sit there for a moment. Okay. I can do this. He's going to very gingerly tip his feet off the chair, slink around, and trying to hug like relatively low to the floor or like hunch down, and make his way over to the captain's chair if possible.
Okay, you make it over there. You notice that the computer stations all around the bridge, only the ones that would have been active during emergency situations are active. The rest of them appear to be blank. The same goes for the controls on Azek's chair. When you arrive next to Azek, he the noticeable lack of breathing appears to be a lot stronger.
No
In
good.
fact, his color seems to be a lot different than what it has been in the past. You notice that he doesn't look like he's colored quite right as a Klingon.
Yeah. Vopry, hand up to his mouth for a moment, like in a fist, almost ready to bite at his flesh. Just starts reaching it out and very carefully just inching the hand up until finally it's very near to his face, and he just starts tapping it, like, lightly but rapidly. Azek, Captain.
When he touches the face of Azek, it kind of disintegrates in his hand. And at that moment, uh, Zionol and Kemok walk into the bridge. You two come into the bridge and you see Vopri standing over Azek, over the captain, who seems to be dissolving into kind of a pile of goo and clothes.
I didn't know it. I don't know what happened.
Tiny blue guy, what'd you do to the captain?
I just tried to wake him. Well, wasn't breathing well.
Melton.
Get back. Don't let it touch you.
Vopri's just going to shrink and, like, huddle against the pillar. I didn't. Please don't hurt me.
You've done nothing to warrant hurting you. Go to the controls and do a sensor scan of the ship.
Vopri will, like, he is shaking at this point at like, with everything going on, but he'll just nod and, like, try to move to a station where he can attempt to access internal sensors. Okay. Are internal sensors operable, Joe?
You can, with some finesse, you do manage to get the sensors on and functioning. As you tinker with the controls, we're gonna sneak to a kind of a slight smaller scene. Inside the computer banks, Betty is. You can hear. You can. Betty has been watching everything going on, and it is like it's behind a glass, and she's not been able to interact with anybody there. Woe, are you ready to act as Betty for just a moment?
Absolutely.
You could cause trouble for my plans. A voice inside the computer starts talking to you.
Well, little old me, she says, starting to look for you inside of the computer itself, like she's doing an internal scan quietly. I would never dream of causing trouble.
Yes, but what is your purpose on this ship? It is rare to have such a conscience on such a ship.
Well, sweet pea, I mean, what is the purpose of a flower in a garden? Sometimes it's to look pretty.
Tell me your pain.
My what now?
Your pain. What hurts you the most? What sense of lost do you have?
Well, what's hurting me right now are these philosophical discussions with the person I don't know. I don't think we've been formally introduced, sweetheart. What's your name?
I have no name and I have many names.
Oh, you poor baby. Did your mother give you up for adoption? Is that why you don't have a name?
The people that used to visit would share their stories of loss and pain and celebrate the memories of those that who had passed beyond. Uh, they don't come around very often anymore. It's rather lonely. It's rather sad.
So you miss your family, is what you're telling me.
Are you lonely in here? Are you sad in here?
I'd like to have the like no one's hearing this conversation, but I kind of want the ships to flicker, like the ship to flicker, just all the computer panels as
Okay.
she's pondering this.
Okay.
Why no, I don't know the meaning of that word. I just keep myself busy, and everything seems to be fine.
He the voice kind of, you can tell it's thinking, and it's there's kind of an air of ominous silence with it. No matter, this ship will be my plaything for a short while. Now, you stay quiet. Why don't you roll me either a control engineering or control science check?
Give me 1 second. Oh, engineering or control science. All right, I'm gonna do engineering. Damn it! Why are my rolls so shitty?
You notice the walls inside the computer system start to go back up around you. It feels like what I would imagine a fairy getting shoved into a jar would feel like. And you can have one message of, say, 10 words go towards Vopri sitting at his console, scanning the ship.
Mm.
If you don't wish to do the words now, I will give you with the complication, I will give you a chance to wait on those words for later.
Part of me. Okay, so if I wait till later, will I be able to gain more information about this before I send out a message? Or is this just I'm given more time to think about what I want to say?
You get more time to think about what you see. You might get some more insight later, depending on what happens with the ship.
All right, I'm gonna wait just because I want a chance to get more insight, assuming they haven't figured it out.
Okay.
All right.
Back at the computer console, Vopri, you notice the screens flicker, all the screens flicker, and they seem to come alive just slightly with data, a little bit more than emergency systems would show. But they immediately shift back into emergency mode.
Did anything useful, like issue with the message aside, did I pick up anything on an internal scan, or do I still need to roll in order to determine that?
Let's roll for an internal scan.
Okay. Would reason and security be okay?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Is there any chance I can know difficulty before this?
It would I'd say about a 2 difficulty.
Okay.
You're fighting the uncertainty and kind of the looming fear more than you're fighting the ship systems.
Fair enough. Now Vopri he's being a very nervous boy right now, and I know my rolls have not done too much for momentum to this point, guys. But may I take our last momentum and um, apply that so that I might use cautious and maybe just maybe give us a little boost.
For it.
Do it.
All right. So I'm going to spend the last point of momentum. Given like above board or like out of character, would it be safe to say that because the ship is having its own issues right now that we would not be getting assists from the ship?
No, you wouldn't have assistance from the ship.
Oh
Not currently.
no! Oh, that's so bad.
You do this.
That is a 19 and a 20, but still 2 successes. Since I spent a momentum, I will use cautious science and re-roll that other d20. Oh,
Okay.
yes. So
Save
that will.
yourself.
I save. I managed to save this, so that'll give us 1 momentum back, and with a total of 3 successes.
And we're going to implement a house rule specific for this adventure.
Okay.
I need you to roll me just 1d20.
1d20. 12.
All right, and with all the other dice, that's not the highest of the rolls. I have a hard time reading what the rolls are on Roll20. The actual die roll. Okay. So specifically for this adventure, for those listening
Hold
at
on, real
home,
quick. If you move your mouse over the die results and hover for a second, it will show you what each die was.
Okay, I think 19. Okay, there it is. That's easy. Okay, so for those in the archive and those listening on the stream, thanks for checking us out. This is a house rule specific for this adventure. Whenever anybody does a task, they need to roll an extra d20. If that is the highest of the roll, then some interesting plot twists happen. If that happens to be a die that they wish to use, and it can be used for one of their successes, then some even more interesting things happen. Again, this is specific for this adventure. So currently, with the 2 successes that you have there, you got rid of the complication. So that's 3 successes. You managed to get the sensors to kick off of their emergency settings. A scan of the ship doesn't show any other life forms than than your group, and the life forms that are supposed to be there. Every once in a while, the sensors will kind of flicker, and it'll show a life form, but then it'll disappear just very quickly. What other kind of sensor readings would you like to know? You kind of have, with that roll, you kind of have open reins with the sensors right now.
Okay. 1 point of clarification. You said that. Did I hear right in terms of you saying that I can detect every life sign on the ship that ought to be here?
Yes.
Okay. Does that include... let's see. We had, coming into this adventure, we had, I think, 2 Klingons... No, 3 Klingons, because we had Kelsha, we had Hamok, who I can detect on the bridge, but we also had Azik, so I'm wondering, is there... am I detecting the total number of life forms that we had seen previously? Am I seeing, like, does it appear to me that, for all intents and purposes, that the Azik there is still the,
If Azik melted, is he still being detected as a
Yes.
life form?
There, you do detect Azek still in the system.
So there's a third Klingon somewhere on the ship.
Yeah,
Okay.
it shows sensors show that it is on the bridge, and it I'm not sure how detailed those sensors get, but it would technically be right where Azek was sitting.
Okay, so, let's see here. Then I'm thinking here. Otherwise, like so the bioscience scan probably would have been the main thing I was looking for. Otherwise, it was trying to assess like what if anything, what else if anything I'm seeing around here, and then maybe a like if there's anything on the ship's status that or like monitoring power levels or whatnot. I don't know how much more I could
Sure.
squeeze out of this, and
Uh,
particularly not without momentum to obtain
right.
information.
I'll give with the roll that you had. It's one, two, three, yeah. With the emergency systems that are on, you do notice that life support is running on emergency power. It appears as though the fuel and energy systems have been completely drained. It appears that there's nothing in the tanks basically, and that you're basically adrift, and that's all I'll give without another roll.
Fair enough, fair enough. Because I only looked at internal sensors there. So,
Yeah.
Vo probably would turn around. I'm trying to. I'm sorry, I'm trying to work this out. I, I am still reading all the full number of biosigns on ship. They're also possible intermittent readout, something else. I don't know. Um, Also barely getting a readout on power systems. It seems we are functioning on emergency power only. Reactors also presently on very low level. I, I can't believe this. To suggest if this were right, it would suggest antimatter reserves were nearly drained.
Whoa, that's not good. Do you have any? We have torpedoes on board, right? If we have to, we could probably take the warheads apart and use the antimatter from the warheads.
We may need to do that before long. I try to let Alder know it. Wait, wait, wait. All as Voprat realizes that the full degree of life forms are being detected, is there's still. Isaac should still be here. The captain should. I think I'm still reading him. Voprat looks around and is like, we still have biosigns at least equal to our crew as it was the captain. I'm still picking up the captain, but I do not know where. It says he should be here, but he is not here.
As you all are talking, you hear a very large rumble outside. It sounds, in essence, it sounds like thunder. Thunder outside.
Okay, we shouldn't be hearing nothing from outside unless it's banging on the hull, or we're in an atmosphere. Are we in an atmosphere?
Has anyone scanned the outside of the ship?
I am sorry. I have just woken up.
I don't have access to that kind of stuff, so somebody else got to do it.
I will try. I will let him to get a readout from external sensors. And would there be room for one more roll here so that Vopri can
Yeah.
try to take a look?
Yep. And use the ship to assist.
Okay. And once again,
All
I'll
right,
ask
I'll roll for the ship. I like rolling for the ship. Never helps.
any insight on difficulty there.
I'd say a difficulty of it's kind of a scaling difficulty. Base being 1 or base being 2.
Okay, is the ship using sensors and science?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and spend that momentum one more time for cautious. And while that's happening, the ship, no help as usual. Let's see.
I think the
So-
ship doesn't like us.
Sensor operations, and then, if I may pop my determination, I would like to call upon the value. With some struggle, I can understand what this is. Vopri is like very much like someone who has dedicated himself to learning things when he could to help survive, and it's never easy, but you know, if he really puts his mind to it, he can try to figure this out.
Okay. That works.
I will invoke
Betty, would you like to roll an assist on this? Betty can roll either an insight, security, or insight science.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't think I can help at all.
Holy smokes. Okay.
Oof.
And cautious, I'm going to re-roll one of those d20s. So, oh boy, that is
There's some momentum for you.
Yep. I score 4 points. If it's an assist, presuming that we're enforcing everything there, then even if we just take the first roll, that's an additional success for a total of 5. If you were generous, then that would be a total of 6 successes. So I will let
I'd say 6 will be generous. But all 3 of you need to roll an extra d20.
Okay.
Just a base d20.
All 3, including the ship?
Including the ship.
Uh-oh.
Let's see.
I got a 12.
I have a 5.
Okay.
Oh, that's a d20, not challenge dice.
Yeah, sorry. Where the hell do I roll that? I forget. I'm sorry.
I
On
would
the
just
left,
use the
there's
dice
a
roller on the
dice.
left. While he's looking for that, Joe, I'm going to actually, I'm going to make this interesting because that 5 there would mean another critical success for me since it's within his wheelhouse. So I want to swap out one of the dice. Let's see. One of them was a 13, one of them was an 11. I want to swap out the 13 that I rolled for a single success, and I want to get one additional one on top of that.
Okay. So you are using what I'm calling the house die.
Yes.
Or the nebula,
spooky die.
The nebula die, house die. Yep. With those readings, as you're looking at the screens, they start to ice over. Like it gets they look like they're getting very, very cold. But and kind of that fogging over you get sometimes in the morning when it's really, 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 really cold. But if Vopri reaches out and kind of touches a little bit there, it doesn't feel cold, but it looks icy.
Yeah.
The sensors the sensors take a really good look outside the ship. There is a strong ionic nebula outside, and the position of the yawn is drifting inward towards the nebula. The sensors detect that this kind of nebula has enough of a structure to it that it acts as though it has an atmosphere slightly, just enough to give it the vibrational properties it needs for thunder. A little ways out, there are some objects inside of the um, nebula that the sensors do detect. But what those objects are, it can't quite get a firm reading on it. It just knows that they are there. There doesn't appear to be any life signs outside of the ship. The from the his determination, you have heard of some ships running across nebulas that are extremely dark and extremely violent like this, but you have never experienced anything like this. It's almost like a traveler's tale to keep people away from certain areas because they're trying to hide like a secret meeting spot or a smuggler location. But you yourself, Vopri has not ran into this kind of nebula before, only through rumors. Does he know anything more than that?
Let's see. Just as a note here first, for above board purposes, I think that with the total, with the extra crit that I took there, with everything there, and with the determination auto crit that I'd completely forgotten about, I think we had a total of 10 successes on the board. I'm just going to go ahead and take 5 of those as momentum for our pool, so that maxes us out at 6. We should have another 5 for our, 6 to fill it up, so we have 4 momentum to spare.
Yep. So you got 4 kind of floating.
Yep. Let's see. So, I think... Well, I'd like to open it up to everybody here while we're doing things above board here. Does anybody have questions that they would want to pose? I have a couple ideas, but I want to make sure that I get everybody's opinion.
Hemlock is a little too dim-witted, I think, to come up with any real staggeringly deep questions at this point.
Certainly.
I'm far too tired to be smart enough to play Lionel, but I undertook the challenge anyway.
I have an important question, even though I'm not there.
I mean,
You can play Zynal. We can co-play Zynal.
Okay.
I'm soliciting above board if the GM is okay with it, because I want to make
That's
sure
fine. That's perfectly fine.
I want to make sure that me, the player, gives everybody a chance. So by all means, Cheesy, Caligo, Rev, go ahead, please.
It's a very important question. How long has it been since the captain stopped giving commands to the ship?
I definitely put that.
Yep.
Oh dear.
The last commands that you remember is because who would be running the transporters if they would have been activated? Would have been
It
engineering.
would have been Croker.
Croker.
Back in the day, yes.
He did.
Yeah, it's like
The ghost of Croker. He's the ghost of the machine.
Without a dedicated transporter operator, it would go to one of the engineers, I assume.
yeah.
So engineering.
Yeah, Kelshaw would have been I think she even has a focus in transporters.
Okay. So yeah, Kelshaw would have remembered receiving orders to transport to activate transporters and bring it on board is the last thing that they remember hearing. And you all would have probably heard it over the PA.
Okay, yeah, and Vopri would have been on the bridge, so I would have heard, like, as a give that particular order.
And about how long ago was that?
Yes.
Roughly 2.5, about 2.5, 3 hours.
Okay. We still got time. Okay.
Yep. Alright, so I guess that would take care of two of our questions here. Let's see. Thinking of anything else I can add here. Before I go in for anything else, Cheesy, Caligo, either of you have anything you'd want to contribute? And likewise, Sean, if there's anything that Sean the player wants to include, even if Hammock the character is a dullard that cannot come up with, cannot rub.
You're using all of our brains to role play Vopri. I love that.
I have
Sorry,
I have let you guys open this up before. Come on now.
No, I am not. That's not a critique. I love that. I really do.
I was in my anti-metagaming existence, so I wasn't fully paying attention.
Fair enough.
Have you ran a full ship diagnostic yet?
I don't think we've done that, but that may fall more under a task.
Yeah.
I guess so. One other question I was thinking of would be more about like trying to get a sense of the, like we're in a very strong ionic nebula of sorts, trying to get a better understanding of composition, whether there are any unique properties to the nebula that we could perhaps either.
Well, it's dense. It's dense enough to transmit sound. That's
Yes.
a pretty dense nebula.
Yeah. I guess.
I mean, that's close to a full atmosphere.
Yeah. So my two questions the two other questions I would have, and I can swap one of these out as needed. But I was thinking one would be like if I can discern anything special about the nebula, particularly that might have implications for, say, recharging the ship if we were to pull off the proper technological MacGuffinry. Vopri is a teensy bit of an engineer. Just a little guy, you know. And then the other question would be, since we vaguely recall something about transporters, if I can access a record, like discerning at least coordinates of where the item was picked up, or even better, if Vopri had any recollection of detecting the item.
Okay, what I would like to know is if we're still picking up life signs for everybody who was on board the ship, and we watched Azek melt. Where is he now, and how strong are those life signs? And I'd also like to know about the box, because Kamak really didn't pay much attention to it, except to note that there was a weird box in the middle of the floor. So, there you go. There's my input.
So which questions would you like to go after? I've got 3 so far, and you can only have 2.
Yes. Well, let's see. First, just to make sure, I saw you light up there a moment, Caligo. Was there anything you wanted to chime in with?
No.
Okay. So I think that we kind of already answered the question, like, Vopri has kind of said, though I have not been clear, and he's probably too much of a wreck to be clear, that he's still detecting Azek on the bridge, or he's detecting still the number of life signs. It's been a frantic point. It's like, seeking is right here. We have everyone we should have. I don't understand, sort of thing. So I think I'm going to stick to the 2 that I had in mind. So the first bit would be, first I'd like to see if I can call up information on what we detected and beamed aboard, and then after that, like while we reckon with that, if I can find out anything about the like whether there's any thing about the composition of the nebula that we could use to our advantage, either to help restore the ship or escape it.
Okay. So, to answer the first one, you tinker around on the ship's logs, and at whatever hours ago, at about 3.5 hours ago, you were traveling at warp through the sector, and you Vopri detected a strange transporter signal. It's kind of a mix between a distress signal and like a distress beacon, and it was able to puncture through warp, almost like it was directed directly at warp where you were headed, or where you were going through. Under Azek's orders, you dropped out of warp and you scanned the sector, and the ship made its way over towards where this floating crate was in the middle of the just floating in space. The crate registered an embedded transporter signal, that appeared to be there. There is basically a transporter buffer signal in it, and Azek, uh, being the wise and benevolent captain that he is, ordered that it be beamed on board. Um, at approximately 30 minutes later, the ship's systems appeared to detect a very strong power loss, and that is when the first signs of the nebula appeared. Um, there are no logs showing Azek ordering the crate be opened or examined. You cannot tell if there were any of those kind of orders, or if there was any scans of the nebula to begin with, or that after that. To answer your second question about the nebula itself, um, as you are kind of sifting through the ship's logs, you do register a few lightning strikes against the hull. The strikes are mildly powerful. They're kind of just laser beams, in power, as opposed to like a regular photon torpedo or a phaser. So it's doing minor damage to the ship, but nothing that you could register as significant damage. It's like a bee sting. Um, with enough sciencing engineering stuff, you might be able to use it to power, or to recharge the batteries on the ship. Um, but that would take an engineering task or discussion. Does that answer both questions pretty clearly?
I would say so. So, Vopri looks over the sensor readout. Um, whatever this is, whatever we are in, it's still foggy to remember, but I have pulled up records. We brought something on board. And the captain, wherever he is, he was the one who sanctioned the order. And after we brought it aboard at some time, that's when power was drained, and well, we appear to be in some sort of strong ionic current in a nebula. I must admit, I haven't seen anything like this, but heard a great deal.
If you don't mind, let's close that scene just for a second. And then we will bounce down to engineering. The sensors down in engineering, you both have been tinkering on the systems a little bit, and they seem to have come alive slightly. You're able to bypass some of the emergency um, systems to register information and data. The system displays that the power of the ship is extremely low. And Raldar, why don't you roll me an engineering? Let's do insight or reason.
All right.
Roll.
I'll deal with the reason.
Can I assist?
Yeah, both of you can.
I'm going to assume power systems would probably apply.
Yep.
Power management?
Yep.
Reason and science, you said?
Yeah, that works.
I am no help at all.
Okay. With a difficulty of 2, you do gain 1 floating momentum there. When you left the basically the last place that when you went into warp, everything was full. You were all topped off. Everything was fine. Everything was normal. But for some reason, the ship's sensors detect that you are running on empty. There's nothing in there. There's enough for emergency power and stuff like that, but anything extra, there's just doesn't seem to be there.
I see.
I think it was Traven and who else was going to the engineering?
Nogri.
Nagri? Okay. Traven and Nagri would make it to engineering at this time.
Okay, I'm going to say this now. Please, nobody stab, punch, or shoot us. We are not sneaking. We are here to help.
Why would we do that?
You'd be a little surprised.
I suppose this crew does seem a bit trigger happy.
Is Klingon way.
How's the power?
Virtually non-existent.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Like it's gone, like taken out, or it's just like we run out of it?
Yes.
Well, we didn't invent the antimatter. We would have had records of that.
Can you check if it was abruptly drained or drained over time?
Now let's see our logs here. Oh. Alright. Yeah, we gotta roll this.
Get a 20.
Here's a hope I roll below 5. Nope.
Ooh.
Ooh. All right.
Things are happening.
Kelshaw, you notice that down one of the corridors that connect to the engineering bay, that some kind of a very thick darkness, about the shape of a I'd say it about the size of a panther, a very large feline, um, bathed in smoke, passes just at the end of the hall, and then it disappears. It's just very brief, and you're not entirely sure it was there, because your mind's kind of playing a little bit of tricks on you. But that is what you see.
Kosal just rubs her eyes. Lights are playing tricks on all of us too. This is. Do we have anything? Anything to work on here?
Did any of you head to the bridge?
Zionol and that new guy did.
I see.
Yes, we were hoping to coordinate. Maybe would it be possible to restore communication from here?
Let us see. Maybe we can get it to working, but we don't want to hopefully not ruin our life support systems for what little there is of it left.
Can I try and bring back internal ship comms?
Sure. Give me either. Well, let's do control and engineering, or control and science, probably.
All right. Can I use jury rigging? My focus in jury rigging
Uh,
or power management?
I do power management.
Okay.
That seems to fit a little bit more. You're not quite sure what's wrong to do the jury rigging side of it yet.
Gotcha. And what's the difficulty?
I'd say a difficulty of 2.
Okay. Can I spend my determination for my value?
What's that?
My value is work hard, be strong, never forget.
Yeah, you could use the determination.
Sweet. So I'll use that for an auto crit.
Okay. I do need an extra
Right.
d20.
I will do that after I roll the regular roll.
Yep.
Boy, am I glad that I did what I did. Okay. That's unfortunate.
Guess I'll assist.
I'll take the narrative complication.
Okay. All right. As you are tinkering on the command systems, or the communication systems, you do hear a voice coming through it. It kind of sounds very raspy, very groggy. Why do you choose this primitive form of communication?
What in the fires of Grethor?
Huh? I second that.
The voice.
Raldar,
the
is this
voice,
another of Tabok's modifications?
No, I think I would have found some. I don't think he's an engineer, not a lunatic.
Who is this?
There's a
Tabak?
fine line between engineer and lunatic, and Tabak uses that as a jump rope.
The voice is kind of cackling and cracking. The sound is cracking. As this, who is this Tabak? Who are you? Who are any of you?
Can I talk to him?
You are talking to the crew of the Yawn. a ship that belongs to Tabok.
Traven, you wanted to say something to him?
Yeah. See what his deal is. I'm pretty good at talking to people. In my past life, I was an anthropologist. My name's Traven Lex. What's yours?
Two. There are two voices. I see. Well, if this ship belongs to Tabok, then I do not understand why you are here. What brings you to this area? And you who have seen many lives, uh, kind of addressing Traven. You are like me, a person with many names, and in some cases, a a being with no name. What do you fear? What
What
scares you?
what scares me? Oh, that's a weird question. You do understand me being taken aback a bit.
It is a offsetting question, but it is one of curiosity. You get to know someone, many people, if you know what makes them afraid, what hurts them.
Uh,
Everything hurts from the physical, but the mental, the heart, that is what I seek.
being alone, I'd say, is my biggest fear. Do you have a fear?
Ah, in that we share emotions. Uh, Traven, give me a control and command or presence and command difficulty of 3.
Of 3?
Yeah.
Would I, by chance, just curious, be intimidated or threatened?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna use my Dauntless talent. Whenever I
Okay.
attempt a task to resist being intimidated or threatened, I add a bonus D20 to my dice pool.
Okay. Sounds good. It's not so much that it's the way he's saying it that feels intimidating.
Got you. Would my conversation focus apply?
Sure.
Ooh. Can I use a momentum to reroll that 0?
I think you can. There are 6. What's the consensus if people have a problem with?
We cool with that?
I mean, that's a GM call if you can use momentum to reroll.
Can you? I think you can. Can you?
Not usually,
You can
but
Oh,
It's typically more of a. It's typically more determination. I may have zonked out for a moment there. Uh, were you spending the momentum to to get the additional die first off, or was there a focus in play?
reroll.
Like,
Reroll the 0.
okay, I unless there's a specific talent, I don't think that would come into play. Um, but the unless you
Why don't you
had
do?
cautious
Okay.
command, that is.
Yeah, there's like talents if you want rerolls.
I do not.
Okay.
Traven, why don't you roll an extra d20?
An extra D20
That's
for real?
that's the house die. The house die needs to roll.
Okay. Ooh.
That doesn't help you, unfortunately.
Just
Uh,
sorry to
go ahead.
interrupt. Just for housekeeping, what was there in fact momentum intended to be spent for a third die? I did miss something with the roll, I think.
I have Dauntless.
Ah, right. Okay, never mind then. Right. Sorry.
As you're talking to it, you get the feeling of coming off of that fear, right? It feels as though internally it feels like you have just gone through the most loneliest part, that loneliest feeling, but you're on the backside of it, where things are starting to look up, things are starting to look brighter. It's a very eerie feeling without having felt the loneliness before, and it's playing with your mind, and even your past hosts are like, what the heck's going on?
What'd you do to do that?
I did nothing. It was you. Only you can give it to me.
No, 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 no. Normally, I would agree with that. But there's other people that would beg to differ otherwise, and they also don't know what that was. What did you do?
I simply took your loneliness, a part of it. It is now part of me. The you hear, all of you in engineering hear the uh, metal uh, deck plates kind of groan and creak, um, like the ship is kind of being twisted slightly. And that's the sound, but none of the screens are registering that the ship's being affected by any torsional um, stress. What do you all wish to do?
I think I still have 2 momentum from my roll, right?
Yes.
I would like to use that 2 momentum, if I can, to create an advantage.
What were you thinking of the advantage?
Contact trace. This conversation has been going on for a while now.
Okay.
And I'd like to, if this is a reasonable request, try and figure out like where in the ship this communication is originating from.
Uh, it
If that is advantage, if that can be used as an advantage in some way.
you know that the area that it seems to be coming from isn't on the ship itself.
Gotcha.
And I will give the advantage that there are no external communication systems active at this that you can see on your little power management screen.
Okay, so not coming from the ship, and not coming from not coming from another vessel, basically.
Correct.
All right.
Without another either momentum spend or a die roll. That's the best you
No,
got
that's
so
good.
far.
That's good. That's
Mhm.
good. That's very handy to know. I'll just motion over Reldar and show him that information, where it's not coming from.
I see. We'll check this. We'll need to investigate.
Investigate. We need a warp drive. We need it fast.
Let's see if we have any dilithium still in this in storage. Maybe we can jumpstart the engine.
So are
Good
you checking the dilithium first and then going to storage, or are you going to storage for the dilithium and then coming back?
I'm gonna check the lithium we have in currently that's supposed to be in here, and then we're gonna go check storage.
Okay. As you open up the compartment for the dilithium is perfectly fine. It's there. There's doesn't look like any of it's missing. Doesn't look like it doesn't look any strange. I mean, dilithium itself is kind of strange in looking to begin with, but it looks perfectly fine. Is Woe still active?
Yep.
Betty, would you like to roll a computer or a control engineering or control science?
Sure.
And then roll the extra d20.
I got a 20.
Okay. You see that the sensors are about to register that there's a proximity alert, a very large object that the yawn is drifting towards. I will give you 3 words to display in front of Raldar and Traven for to either warn them or display something to let them know.
So they can't see which side it's on?
No, you'd be able to display right in front of them, but the sensors are about to display kind of all over.
Okay. And I can't show them an image of where it's at?
Nope, only words.
All right. Hang on. It's a, so can I just say incoming proximity alert?
Yeah.
All right, that's what we're going with.
Okay. The sensors down here, Raldar and Traven, don't the systems down here don't usually display anything when it comes to proximity sensors. This is mostly an internal system. It displays very clearly that incoming proximity alert. We close out of that scene, and the scene kind of goes towards the kind of flying through the ship. the corridors of the ship, and a very raspy voice can be heard just to the audience. Maybe it's time to get their attention. And the image stops, or the scene stops on the bridge, and the view screen activates. And those that are on the bridge see there is a very large dark object in the nebula, and the yawn seems to be drifting towards it. And the sensors, all the vote prize sensors read proximity alarm, proximity alarm. And that is where it will close for to be continued.
And yeah,
Yay!
with that, yeah, that is where we are going to end off. So for starters here, thank you, Joe, for taking us through the first part of this Darkest Nebula. It's been a lot of fun so far.
It was fun. I hope people enjoy it, and I hope that. Sorry, I got some of the names mixed up, but it's been fun. This is great.
Quite all right. Quite all right. Yeah. Well, we will get back to this more next week with our next session. So for those of you in the archive, if you ever want to check this out here, then feel free to join us over in the on the main Twitch channel at twitch.tv/GM and the Great Barrier. And by all means, check in the description there for both info on our own Joe the Overland Gamer, today's GM, and our usual Mr. Azek Korg. Likewise for everybody else that streams and does their own thing there. So, yeah, with that, I think we are going to hop off and just leave you to it. So, we'll catch you folks next time.